So you get around, yeah.
What's that?
You're around this weekend?
6:59.
Yeah, a lot of people that like hard line right in the middle. Able to taste any of the other ones. Breakfast is over.
Lots of chili in
Lots of everything in it.
Okay, first one to recognize which one's Steve's, like we all have to point it out to each other.
No,
Oh, yeah. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to corporate service meetings. Moved by Donna, second by Corbett, that the corporate service committee meeting be opened at 7. All in favor? What's your last thing, Bob? Adoption of the agenda. Moved by Steve, second by Neri, that the agenda for the corporate service committee meeting for November 28th, 2024 be approved. All in favor? Carried. Any disclosure, pecuniary interests? Being none. Moved by Steve, second by Donna, that the corporate service committee recommends to adopt. Oh, yes, we gotta do tax policy first.
You did many?
No. Wasn't sure.
No.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, the numbers are off.
okay. Yeah.
Moved by Neri, second by Steve. That the minutes of the corporate service committee meeting be held on September 19th, 2024 be adopted as presented. All in favor? Carried. So presentations and delegated. None. Items for discussion, staff reports. Tax policy, guess that's.
So the tax policy was presented back in our last meeting in September. The only feedback that we received was, the final due date was in the original was for August, and we did switch that to the last business day of September. So that change was made, and then we also made the changes that there would be the surcharge on credit cards. Yes.
So I just, reading it. Well, first of all, I just want to clarify that you put in the original tax policy from 1997.
Oh, so there was one that was 1998, so I provided each of you a copy of another bylaw that's a different tax policy, that is only for
Disability.
and low income, so
So income, okay.
some relief, so there's a deferral program that the municipal act allows us to have. And that is that deferral program, so it's just for information purposes, and then that is still valid,
It's still
and then,
important.
yeah, and then there's the new tax policy.
Should we update or amend that at all, or is it just, it's
It-
fine?
To my knowledge, nobody has used it,
Oh.
nobody has come forward to use it.
Okay. So the only question I had was around, yes, thank you for changing it to September, because it is later then. But on the payments, when you're listing out the payments, and this is probably more of a semantic / cosmetic thing.
Okay.
So it says modes of payment. So the modes of payment are telephone and internet banking, right? Which there's no charge for. The municipal pre-authorized payment, which there's no charge for. And then there's cash, check and post-dated check. Those are all the same things, right? So I'm not sure why post-dated check is on a separate.
Well, so post-dated checks, that'll be when a resident will come in at the beginning of the year and give us 12 checks for the year.
Okay.
So cash and check, are you coming to the counter and you're paying right then and there. The post-dated is that you're getting into a program that you give us 12 checks.
Okay, so it's two separate things. And then there's the credit card, which is coming to the counter,
Yes,
right? So that's an in-person 1.5.
yes.
And then there's the website, which is online credit card, but you can also pay debit online, which is no charge.
Right.
But that's not mentioned here, so we might want
Okay.
to say that. And then, so then there's in-person at the counter or Dropbox at the township office. So that's not a mode of payment,
Okay.
right? That's like the where. Also, can we not mail or courier in?
Yes, you could.
Okay, so that's not on here. So this I just think that there's,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, it's just the way to pay, and then you can pay by in person, you can pay by online, or you can pay by mail. Those are different than paying by check, or paying by cash, or paying by credit.
All right, yeah, I can make those notes.
Okay. Thank you.
I need with her.
Okay, that's just cosmetics. Okay, but it's, this is, something that is gonna live in perpetuity, so it should be,
Yeah.
okay,
It's all good work.
yes.
I'll make those changes and then if you pass the resolution, then like you can bring it for December 10th and then it can still be effective for January 1st, 2025. That, okay, perfect.
You good with that?
Yep.
Okay, moved by Steve, second by Donna, that the Corporate Service Committee recommends to adopt the adoption of the tax policies become effective January 1st, 2025. All in favor? Carried. Okay, 6B, fire loan repayment approval.
So you have the report for that, in October, the loan did come up. And it was to be renewed for another 5-year period. So when we looked at that, the vehicle is actually not the lifespan of the vehicle is not 20 years. Our tangible capital assets policy, does say that it only has a useful life of 10 years. So typically a loan is not taken out for more than the useful life of a product or whatever we're purchasing. So we reviewed, because of that, we reviewed what the options were for renewal. So do we renew, do we do it 3 years, 5 years, or can we just pay that off? And then looked at what that would mean for the finances. So I did reach out to a few council as well to make sure that, you know, this would be okay. But the $50,000 that we had in the 2024 budget that would go to the SCBA's that we had earmarked, because it's a 3-year program, it still needs to be a 3-year program. But because we received a donation this year from another neighboring fire department, our fire chief believes that they can stay for, like what we have now will do for 3 to 4 years. So we still had time, and so we are recommending to use that reserve to go into paying off this loan, which frees up about $12,000 a year in the operating budget, which then we can start putting that into reserve as well.
What was the original cost of this truck that we carried over 20 years? Do we know?
I do, but not off the top of my head, I'm sorry. Oh,
Just
45 grand.
yeah, we're paying 80. Yeah, no, I was just curious.
Yeah.
It kind of seems extreme for a piece of equipment to be carried for 20 years.
Yes, and still owe.
$58,000.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's why I was wondering what the original cost was.
I should have had that in too.
So good news, we've saved all of the interest payments we would have paid between
Yes.
now and the
Mhm.
end of the loan. And yet we're still gonna end up with the same reserve at the end because. Yeah, it's great news.
Yeah,
Mhm.
good way to save some money.
Yeah, good catch.
Any other comments? Moved by Corbett, seconded by Neri. That the committee recommends to council to use the $50,000 earmarked for reserves in the 2024 budget, along with $8,085.25 for the existing fire department revenue reserve account to pay off the 2009 loan for the pumper truck in the total amount of $58,085.25. All in favor? Carried. 6C, Public Works. Public Workshop. Garage. You wanna go?
I'll go, it's my report, I'll go, and Public Works Manager can certainly fill in where I am missing some information. But we did discover that there was some black substance in behind the wall because there was a smell coming from one of the offices. And then we tried, the Public Works crew tried to test a hole to see if they could find what the cause of that was. And then there was some black substance, so we have we called a remediation company, DKI from North Bay, to come in to look at it. How bad is it? What is it? Do you think it's mold? Do you not think it's mold? They recommended that we go to Pinchin to get estimates to make sure. Because it's a workplace, it was an awful smell, and we did actually relocate staff for a couple of days because it was bad. We want to make sure it's safe for everybody to go back in, so we want to do the air quality test. We want the tests on the what the actual substance is and how bad it is as well, so.
Do we know what brought on the mold?
So in the main office, we're not sure, there's just no insulation between the drywall and the outer building wall. But the bathroom and the back, like pump area. So what I've been told is there was a water leak a few years ago. The staff member left the door open. And the propane tank ran out of propane overnight and the water lines burst.
So are we talking a man door or a big garage door?
A shop door.
Overnight?
Yes. So the door was left open, the heat, because the garage has in-floor heating as well. The heat was trying to keep up because the door was left open and the water pipes ended up bursting. So we initially thought there was something dead in the wall, so we opened it up in the office and there wasn't anything. One of my staff found some insulation covered in kind of black mold. And then we moved to the bathroom and did another test hole in there, and it's just full of mold.
So I know you two were in here, but was there not an incident report filled out on this insurance claim or?
We can find no record of the event.
Oh.
Once we have the reports back from this, we can reach out to our insurance to say that this is, this occurred. We don't have an incident report that was filed from.
Yeah, I was
when it actually occurred. We can't find it in the files. So we'll have to talk to insurance once we get a scope of what is wrong, what's going on.
So potentially this could be a pretty big bill.
Yes.
Yeah.
They had a big fire there once, in
Yeah,
that building, but I don't think it was half of the building, I
I
think
think
it was the
shop
other
side
way.
is what I was told.
Yeah, because the grader caught fire.
Yeah, so I mean, it was one of those situations where the further we looked into it, the worse it got. I ended up reaching out to Nikki, who then we decided we were gonna try to move forward and see if we can find the root cause of the problem and fix
So
it.
potentially this will all be coming out of the township's pocket to remediate all this black mold.
Yes, potentially. I don't, from what we can understand, the insurance was not contacted. So the water damage, it was in 3 different
Yeah,
rooms. And then we're not sure how it was remediated at that time. So and insurance wasn't contacted, so we'll try to work with insurance this time so that we can still put in a claim.
I mean,
So it says that it was dealt with in-house, so they just slapped drywall
yeah,
back
so
up.
initially, what led me to start asking questions is in the bathroom, there's some small sections in the roof that have new drywall, but the drywall is already saturated and punky. So I started wondering kind of where this water is coming from, and the more we dug, we kind of found that it's not as good as we thought it was. So
So was there insulation? So did they re-insulate and then drywall?
I don't know. I wasn't here, and
Okay.
I haven't cut out anything more because I didn't want to expose anybody to anything.
Right.
So everything that we did cut out, we have taped up, like bagged and taped up,
So-
as per the recommendation of DKI. So
And do we have like some kind of timeline when this happened, when they froze?
I could ask staff that have been here to see, like they definitely know a timeline better than I would. Like I
Well,
said,
yeah.
I wasn't here.
Yeah,
but
no, for sure.
It's just one of those things where it seems like the more we dig into it, the bigger and bigger the issue gets. So It's unfortunate, but
Mhm. Yeah,
Probably won't be able to go through insurance, I
Well,
don't
not-
think, because of the date, right?
that's what I'm
Probably too
thinking.
long. And even if they tried at the time, they might not cover it because it was like a human error like leaving the door.
Somebody-
It wasn't like the pipe
the pipe
just broke.
But that's what
So-
insurance is for. It's for accidents, right?
Not.
I don't
think They
know.
would probably deny it.
it depends, you know, I think the deductible too, depending on what it is, like I'd have.
So residents, I know people who've made claims about leaving a cracked window in the bathroom and the pipes freezing and insurance covered it.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, it's just, to leave a garage door open overnight in the wintertime.
$1,000 in propane.
No, more than that, there's 3 tanks.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
What's our deductible? What would be our deductible?
25,000.
Pardon?
25,000.
Wow.
Might be better to,
Would have been then, for
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. So there would be 3 rooms, depending, we'll get the report back from Hitchin in 2 weeks. So depending on what that looks like, then we'll know if, are we just dealing with 1 room, 2 rooms? What we need to do, is it all complete? Take down through the studs and fix or what?
yeah, as soon as I had staff open up the wall and they pulled out the insulation covered in mold, I just said, let's put that back and tape it up and we'll call a specialist.
And
Good call.
how
We
much
want to
did-
deal with it, just completely
Oh, yeah.
get this fixed.
How much did we pay DKI? DKI?
DKI has not sent in a bill yet.
Okay, so we're already $3,000 just for,
Just for
Yes.
pitching.
just for pencil,
just
and then
for-
whatever DKI is, yeah.
Well, and.
And depending on scope, because we don't know about the tender, what we'll have to
Steel
do.
frame building?
Steel frame,
Yeah.
should be.
It's a Butler, yeah, it's a steel frame, but then they built stuff inside, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
the
Well,
wood
like
stack.
that's the other half too, is like the walls in the office area, like there's no insulation between the every building wall and the drywall. On certain sides of the building, right? So,
Is that your office?
yes,
Oh. That'd be a little chilly.
So, yeah, no, unfortunately, I mean, now it's gonna cost the township money again for. Yeah, unnecessary spent money.
And funky work.
Might be a big bill.
Good plan.
Oh, when you're dealing with remediation, it's always big.
and environmental
Yes,
stuff. right?
yeah, environmental,
We
absolutely.
just had a big clean at work and, yeah, you get that real quick.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean.
Yeah.
All right, well. Moved by, you're the next,
No, no, that's it.
moved by Steve, second by Neri. That the staff. That's a staff report regarding the quote to assess the damage from the prior water event at Public Works Shop. Be received, and further that the committee recommends to council to proceed with the investigation through pension in the amount of. $2,903 and proceed with any necessary remedial work. All in favor? Carried. 6 D. Or D. D, sorry.
You could do them both together, but the Osum Bridge report, it was just done in the fall of 2024. So I have emailed that to everyone. It's a large document, but it is emailed. I think our Trunk Road Bridge is still the main priority. I know the report coming up on that. And then from there, once we can get that done, then we need to start working on the next bridges and the culverts that we need to replace from there. But it's for you to receive, to review, and then it will be part of the asset management plan, and we'll be putting the projects in the order of the priority for condition index, and then we'll put the long-term plan together for all of the assets.
So just so you know, but when they say culverts, that means like 10 feet in diameter culvert, not little.
Yeah, they're,
Yeah.
They're
more than 3
big
meters.
money culverts,
Yes,
just so everybody is on the same page about culverts.
yeah, it's not driveway culverts, it's not road culvert.
Can't put a culvert above the other culvert.
Yeah.
An overflow.
Yeah.
you
Relief
just wait till water
culverts.
rises.
Yeah.
So do you wanna
Yeah, there's a resolution to receive it, so that it's documented, we received it, and
Moved by Steve, second by Jason, that the Corporate Service Committee recommends to council to receive the 2024 OSUM Bridge Report as prepared. All right, all in favor?
We thought we had no money before, when we start fixing these things.
Are we gonna do, or did you kind of 6E?
yeah, so the roads need study as well, that has been, the draft was presented to the committee and council previously, so this is just the final, that is in there, not much has changed from the draft to the final. But again, it does list out, the condition and it takes into account the traffic count on all the roads, so that's what we use again to put together our asset management plan. And our long-term capital plan, as well as our operating plan. So later we'll be talking about the budget and there, I'm gonna give everyone a document based on our roads need study on what the roads, the lowest condition rating, but we use the roads need study to be able to determine some of those priorities. Again, if there's questions as you guys are going through them, it's another very large document, so if there's questions, then let us know as they come up.
Moved by Donna, second by Mary, that the Corporate Service Committee recommends to council to receive the 2023 roads needs study as prepared. All in favor? Carried.
Can I clarify?
Sure.
We call it the 2023 road study because it was commissioned in 2022. And then all of the condition rating was done in 2023. And we just received the final report. So it's not a 2024, it's not based on the 2024, because some of the things that are recommended in there, we've already done. Like we've already addressed line 3 gravel, we've already done some on Maple. So that's not documented in that report.
Yeah, I just want,
Yeah, and we will put them on the website as well.
seems how you mentioned line 3.
Yeah.
Just want to say what a good job Public Works has done on line 3. I mean, with the gravel program and the ditching that's going on there. And it actually looks like a road again. Good job.
Thanks.
Pass it on to your staff.
Yeah, I will for sure.
6F, 2025 bridge. Budget considerations, sorry.
John.
Yeah. You go first.
Sure. So myself and the CAO, as well as Antoine from East Ferris, he's been our consulting engineer to determine a projected plan for the completion of the Trunk Road Bridge project in 2025. As known, the bridge on Trunk Road has been up for replacement discussion for some time now. As seen during inspections, the deck as well as the guardrails or safety walls have experienced serious deterioration over the years and have been a rising safety concern. Based off data collected from previous traffic count studies, Trunk Road receives approximately a 200 vehicle count daily. 2024 completed OSUM bridge inspection revealed that Trunk Road Bridge received a bridge condition index or a BCI score of 37 out of 100. With the replacement of this bridge, it would allow for a smoother approach and flow of traffic along the roadway, especially with the 3-meter minimum for lane width as set out in MMS standards being increased. The bridge replacement would allow for 2 lanes along the bridge deck rather than the current 1 lane that's offered. Following the survey received by HL Engineering, parameters were discussed with Antoine regarding the deck size, cost, and project timeline. It was projected that the bridge replacement would cost approximately $400,000 plus 10% for contingency for all engineering and turnkey completion by a contractor. It was also discussed that the overall project cost could be reduced with turning certain aspects of this project being completed in-house. The existing bridge deck measures 6 meters long and 3.6 meters wide. The new proposed measurements following replacement will be approximately 9 meters in length with 7.5 to 8 meter width on the deck. Public Works staff will be able to assist on the required road closures with signage and traffic control devices for the duration of this project. It's projected that this full-time completion would be around 3 weeks from start to finish. With cost being a factor, it will need to be discussed further with council as to if and what the Public Works Department can perform in-house with respects to the replacement. If Public Works staff can complete portions of this project in-house, it will lower the overall cost of this project significantly. In 2024, $20,000 was budgeted for pre-engineering and planning work to complete so the project can move forward for tendering and completion in 2025. To date, a survey of the bridge in the area was completed to provide drawings for the design of the new bridge. Englobe has submitted a quote to conduct bore sampling along the approachments in the amount of $13,500. This will provide the necessary information on the bedrock, given the new dimensions of the proposed bridge, and ensure the embankments are considered appropriately. Staff are working to begin the environmental asset steps prior to year end, with a species at risk review being done as well.
Okay, then we'll move on to the next capital budget item.
Nothing but the crush.
Yeah.
Development.
Okay, so this one's for your development road rehabilitation. In July 2023, the Public Works Department pulverized Development Road from Trout Pond to Mount Pleasant in hopes to mitigate roadway surface issues that were constantly occurring, such as potholes and surface breakage.
Sorry, was that last year or this year? Wasn't that this year?
Oh, sorry, yeah, 2024.
Yeah.
That's my apologies.
Yes.
Summer's already gone.
Following pulverization, the road was graded with an application of calcium from end to end. Survey of the roadway was conducted, and it was determined there are approximately 9 digouts that need to be completed. These digouts ranged in length from 50 meters to 200 meters and ran the width of the roadway. While performing the required digouts, it will allow for the current soft spots within the roadway to be properly removed and stabilized using aggregate to backfill. The Public Works Department is planning on continuing their brushing program along Development Road, commencing winter of 2024 and continuing into 2025. Following the completion of brushing for the full length of Development Road, it will be ditched on both sides afterwards. After ditching is complete, staff will then start to cut the berms and banks on the side of the roadway. Clean up all the dirt debris with the backhoe, and this will allow the excess surface water to flow freely into the newly established ditches. Once ditching and berm removal is complete, Public Works staff will then start the approximately 9 digouts and 3 culvert replacements that are required for this rehabilitation. It's expected in 2026 that staff will then add aggregate to the roadway, grading and shaping the roadway to the 3% grade. And depending on the timeline of completion, a contractor will be applying calcium to the roadway before surface treatment is applied. So the impacts on our 2025 capital budget are site preparation, $50,880. Engineering, $76,320. Road base improvements, $77,964, and culvert replacements, $8,077. And then to pulverize the existing section from line 3 to Trout Pond is approximately $9,240, giving us a total of $224,158.
Yeah, so that's really good, but I think you have your hands full with this. So I mean, I don't think you'd be able to help out too much with the bridge.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's get the price on the bridge, but I mean, you gotta,
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of work.
essentially, it'd be nice to just dedicate staff to
Right,
one big project at a time.
yeah,
I know they've been hardworking at our line 3 project now, so to continue on. I think it'd be good to keep doing,
Yeah.
get the use of our new equipment. It's been working well, so.
Yeah.
But I agree, yeah, they don't wanna bite off more than we can chew.
right, I mean, and you're breaking them into this kind of work, so I mean. Having them all, those are 2 big projects.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, I think sticking with development is kind of a good thing.
More of a priority.
Yeah.
The bridge, yeah.
Well, I mean, I did give you guys a quick review of what our deferred revenues are. And those are the OSIP, the Nords, cannabis is still in there. We need to find a way to use the cannabis. It's mostly about education, and then there's the community. The gas tax.
Yes. the gas tax.
Improvement fund, that's what it is, yes, the community improvement fund. So I have what we ended with in 2023 at the 532,000, adding in the 2024. We only spent 30,000 of the OSIP funds, of all of those monies that were received, that 30,000 went into our gravel program on the operating side. So there's 70,000 that will go back into that, which will go into our reserve. And then in 2025, we get another portion, so we will be ending 2025 with $828,000, and then we have the four. You know, this was complicated for you guys to read, I know. So the bridge in 2025 is $420,000. Then we did apply for a grant for Development Road, so we do need the $224,000 from that. So the 112,000, if we are successful in the grant. If we're not successful in the grant, then we will have to come back and review all of Development Road and how we want to proceed.
Cause I was gonna ask, are we doing that, we're doing Development Road in 2-3 kilometer chunks, is that what, is that
If
still
we
the game
don't get
plan?
the
Yeah,
grant,
if we don't get approved for the final grant, that's the plan, we'll piecemeal it together.
Yeah, I mean, it works out fine, I mean,
Yeah, we gotta do what we gotta do.
Right,
And when
So,
will we know about the grant? It's already gone in.
The first quarter of 2025, so we won't necessarily know. And then when we add the remaining from what's left over from that, if we, what we need to that is 295,000, which then if you add in the allocations that we get in 2026. And that's when we're gonna put the big bulk of that Development Road, the rest of the, the 1.5 million, which is the 756,000 that we will need to come up with. At the end of just these two projects, just deferred revenue, that's not taking into or dipping into any reserves at this point. If we get the grant, we will have deferred revenue left of about $129,000. So it will be consuming, we'll be going from 532 down to 129, but we'll have two major projects done.
yeah, I think they need to,
But then we need to start doing the same for the next bridge and the next, so.
yeah, cause I mean, Trunk would be the next, I mean, Trunk is in pretty, getting to be in pretty rough shape too, so.
Yeah, so on the, I have a list here for the gravel roads, and we are still working with our engineer. To get shovel ready for the top of the hill at Trunk. Down Railway to Mark Street, and then part of Gonium Street, so we want to kind of get that done as one project, that will be a substantial amount of money. But in the roads need study, that is the highest traffic area, and it has a low condition index, you guys have seen that. So that's our next section where we're creating, it was already deemed a priority, now we're just working to get shovel ready. So that the next time a grant comes out, we know how much it is, we know what we're doing, and we can just go straight into that, so that'll be the plan.
And, yeah, so what are we doing for? Are we gonna add a little more funds to the gravel program this year? Because, I mean,
Great.
I mean, it's good what we did last year, but I mean,
yeah, essentially, we're hoping yearly, to
keep the top.
keep going in the
Yeah,
partnership
yeah.
rate, so
Yeah,
pick away the highest traffic, worst condition index roads. Moving forward, so.
When I showed the budget from last year and I did a 5-year projection for you, every year I was adding 5,000 or 10,000 into that non-capital levy. That is essentially what we're using for gravel roads at this point. So it's about $145,000 right now that we use, and then that goes into the gravel, along with the account that we have from stockpile. So that's what we've been using, those two accounts to be able to manage that. But we haven't had any, like the year before, we used that non-capital for the new truck. So we'll just have to keep planning.
yeah, no, I mean, like I said, line 3 turned out really well, the quarry and gravel did. There's been, as we proceed, I mean, I know we need to get onto all the roads, but we could apply a little thicker, it'd be.
Yeah, it'd be ideal, right?
Yeah,
mean,
I get it.
The material ended up binding very well.
Really well.
And it compacted great, but yeah, I mean, there's never too much gravel, right?
Right.
So.
But I mean, I know we gotta get some on every road, because it hasn't been done so long.
Yeah.
There is too much gravel when you can't get under your driveway. Yeah, there could.
That's a tough problem to have.
Yeah.
Then there was.
Budget?
Yep.
Okay, so just some public works items for capital budget 2025 considerations. One of the items being a sweeper. So a backhoe mounted sweeper. Over the past few years, the township has experienced issues with contractors performing required roadway sweeping contracts. In both 2023 and 2024, the contractor performed unsatisfactory cleaning of the excess sand from the roadway intersections, municipal parking lots, as well as missed multiple roads outlined in the provided plan. With the purchasing of a sweeping unit, attached to our newly purchased backhoe, this cleanup following the winter months can be moved to in-house. If this work was conducted in-house, we'd no longer need to rely on a contractor to complete and would guarantee the job gets done properly. The most recent quote received for front mount sweeper attachment for the backhoe was $26,236. Now, I've spoken to the company where I got the quote from today, and those prices have changed yet again. So,
And not in our favor.
no. So essentially, the sweeping unit we're looking at sweeps everything into itself, and then the backhoe would just dump it into the back of the dump truck. So it's not like we're just blowing debris into the ditch side or onto people's properties. So we'd actually be cleaning it up. So
What was the contract that we had for like outside people to come and do it? Like, what did it cost?
How much,
yeah,
A year.
but then that was for only 40 hours worth of work that was never performed.
Right.
So
But we didn't pay. We don't
we're
pay for work that.
still dealing with that.
Yeah.
So, but we are essentially looking at a 4-year ROI for sure. But I mean, if you're doing that.
Plus staffing and gas and.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
so
so
you got
that's
sta- you got
5
staffing
years,
anyway.
like, as long as the sweeper has a lifespan of 5 years.
Oh,
Yeah, with proper maintenance.
That,
5 years is
that's a 20-year, you got 20 years on that sweeper.
Right, so it's.
your
Yeah, let's take a 20-year loan out.
your biggest expense essentially with the sweeper is gonna be your brushes, right? Your
'Cause
brush
they-
replacement.
They're the high wear, but I mean,
Yeah,
What?
It's a separate piece of equipment or?
It's just an
attachment?
attachment for the backhoe. So
Oh,
essentially, the staff can clean up, right? But we can use it for other things as well.
it goes where the front bucket sits on the backhoe.
Oh, yeah.
That's where it sits.
So like another thing we could do with it too, as well as like clean up the rink yearly, right? Come in the rink, sweep everything up. So, I mean, there's lots of stuff we can do with it. It's just,
Well, and I think just having it and doing a better job than what has been done in the past will be,
yeah, at least that way too. I mean, my biggest thing is the job not getting completed properly.
Yeah, because you're told by May 2 for last spring, this spring, and it never ever got done.
Yeah, so.
Will they do more roads than what we would normally do with the contract too, because we can.
Yeah.
With more
use it
flexibility.
whenever, right? The secondary thing here is a equipment float. So since purchasing the John Deere 135P excavator, Public Works staff have been working hard at brushing and ditching in multiple locations throughout the township. The Public Works Department currently hires a local contractor to float the equipment from site to site. Year to date, we've spent $7,412.80 on float services. Now, this does include the float for the grader. Well, we had to send it up to Sudbury for the warranty work that we had to pay for.
On warranty work.
Currently, the Public Works Department has 2 operators that have a Class A Z license and are able to transport the equipment with the purchase of the float. The Public Works Department can move freely throughout the township without incurring any cost of hiring a contractor. So a used float, I did a bit of research, is in the ballpark of anywhere between $10,000 to $18,000. Whereas a new float is upwards of 40,000. Now I've reached out to 4 other companies this week. I'm just waiting for quotes to see the comparables on brand new versus used and all the.
Yeah. So, I guess to me, when you buy used, say you pay 18,000, you're putting another $10,000 into repairs to make it roadworthy. So-
Yeah, we essentially have to call a mechanic and do a full safety on it, and whatever's needed is needed. There's no guarantees when buying used, right?
Right. To me, I mean, if you do the simple math, I mean, you've probably on line 3, could have done a little more floating than what you did.
Yeah,
I realize you're trying to save
We
money.
would have loved to, right, instead of tracking. the
Yeah,
excavator
tracking
down
it
the
around,
road.
but, by the end of the year, you'd say you've basically $10,000 in float moves.
Yeah,
So
pretty close.
it's a 4-year payoff on a new one.
What's the insurance rate on a float?
like yearly,
Yeah,
I'm not sure, I'd have to look
because
into it.
because that's another
So-
expense that we would have to look at. It's added to the 18.
Yeah, I don't
Not
think
much?
I don't think it's much. I think it's mostly when you're pulling it, the truck covers the float.
Like it's attached to your.
It's attached to the
vehicle.
truck,
Oh,
so your truck insurance is covering.
The only like extra cost would be the yearly safeties and inspections. For the
Which
trailer,
we're
we-
doing
we
in-house
do
anyway.
anyways, right, so. Next thing for consideration is our gravel rehabilitation program. So, this past year, we've applied maintenance gravel to both line 3 and Maple Road, totaling a weight of 6,402.10 tons of quarry granular A. This material was applied to the road surface, has not only been harder than the previous material used, but it also packed very well following grading. Moving forward with the gravel rehabilitation program in 2025, the Public Works Department is looking to apply gravel to at least one of the roads listed below. Shields Point, Grand Desert, Boundary, and McNutt. Depending on the final budget numbers for maintenance gravel, other roads, including smaller side roads, as well as other roads listed in the roads need study, are also in consideration, such as Palangio, Rainville, Francoeur, Ficho, and roads within the hamlet. These roads listed currently have little to no gravel left on the roadway, as well as a soft road base in some places. Future plans for all township roads include pulling rocks from the roadway and replacing the void with aggregate. Rocks protruding through the road surface are what cause significant wear to our grader blades. So we're open to discussion with council on selected roads for gravel application. Kind of what I was thinking was if we either tackle one or two bigger roads, or we just do all our smaller side streets. So, I mean, based upon traffic that come into consideration, as well as the condition indexes from our road need study.
Well, sorry, like I think. We've done considerable work on a couple of huge roads, development and line 3.
Mhm.
Listen, I like the idea of let's knock out a bunch of the smaller roads that are arteries throughout and people use, so. If that's a 1 year, get a bunch of these roads done, it's not a bad investment, honestly.
Again, I could definitely put together another report on total distances and how many roads we could actually get done within the budget based upon cost per ton.
I think based upon need though, no, like the.
Well, that's
worst
why I
roads,
wanted to ask
right?
council what their opinion is on the system, because we can go one of two ways, right? We either get one of the bigger high traffic roads,
Yeah,
gravelled, or we move to the smaller side streets.
Mary, you got thoughts?
No, I'm going to ask. That you mean for in the spring or in 2025?
2025,
You're speaking
yeah,
about
yeah,
that,
for our
yeah.
gravel program.
Yeah, because we wouldn't be putting any gravel on.
No, it's way too late to hear now.
Plows it.
Yeah.
So what's left? We've got, like, for big arteries, I mean, I see.
I mean, South Shore is one of the bigger roads, Shields Point's another big road.
Did
Great
I do
Desert.
South Shore?
and
Just a little,
20
just a section of it.
22.
Inches. We
Yeah.
just did 2 inches across, and that's again not marked in the roads need study because the condition was done before we did it.
Right.
So it's brought out of 42, but we have added 2 inches of gravel from the whole
Yeah.
full.
That was a whole road.
You'd be around, I'd say mid-50s, mid-60s now with your CI, but.
I'm kind of
that
in
being said, there's
the
still some spots. where-
same mindset as Jason is, let's knock off a bunch of side roads. And then hit the big artery road in following year.
Mhm.
I mean, they all gotta be done, so.
And well, and the other side of this is like staff have been applying gravel on some of the bigger roads where there are some issues, right? We've had washouts, or we've had rocks that we pulled or rough spots, like they've dumped themselves and graded from some of our
Your
stockpile
stockpile.
material, right? Which we still have a great deal of stockpile left. We haven't used much of it, which is great. I hope not to in the spring,
So,
but
if we don't use a bunch in the spring, I mean, you could probably, stockpile funds could go towards.
Yes.
yeah, we could roll it.
I mean, let's not get, too hopeful, but.
What are we hoping for? Slow melt? That's
Yeah,
what the
yeah.
biggest, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and the water getting off the road now is a
That,
big.
yeah, and that's the biggest
Yeah,
concern. I think
yeah.
that's one of the biggest things moving into 2025 that we're looking to do is a berm removal program as well. So like Dan said, I know we're busy with other projects and stuff like that, but that's one of the highest priorities I think for us is the water on the road is what's creating these potholes, these washouts, this poor tar and chip that we have, right? So the water doesn't have a way to get off the road. It's gonna saturate the surface and essentially that's what creates problems.
Well, like we were talking, there's certain spots on Trunk Road that the berm's 2 feet higher than the road.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
So the water just
The
can't
water
get
can't,
off.
can't get to the ditch, right?
Yeah, if there's, Trunk Road for the most part is pretty good, right?
Like
But
the
there-
surface itself.
There's yes, but there's a couple of spots that are really bad.
Mhm.
And they're just on the other side of, Trout Pond Road
yeah.
heading to Rutherglen. Is that something you see that you could, repair somehow because it's such a small area?
So in that, like in that section of roadway, that's like Dan was saying, the berms on the side of the road are very high, right? So that's what's caused that. You can patch those sections, like you could lay a patch, like tar and then chip patch, but essentially it's just gonna cover up what's there.
Yeah,
I mean,
that it all leaves. They have patched it in some
Patched,
spots,
yeah.
but then you.
No,
again, you
I'm not
see
cold
holes.
patch, like lay tar and chip over
Oh,
top,
yeah.
just in sections, right? Like
So-
instead of doing the whole road, you just do from point A to point B. And then just do a small patch or a slurry or
Oh,
something
yeah.
along the way.
And that gets you what, 5 years? Maybe.
But it
And the
depends-
cost,
temporary.
and I get, I'm talking about a couple of road zippers who probably hate the idea of timber, but. So it gets you 5 years, what's the estimated cost on that?
Depends what route we do, right? So
Right.
I think we worked it out. Last year, just trying to think, like, I don't know, I can't give you exact numbers off the top of my head, but it's.
Cause I mean, the problem we have so much priorities that by the time that can bubble to the surface to be like, okay, we're gonna fix this properly. Oh my God, like we have so much time that just people are driving over this. So if there is the ability to like, let's put a cheaper, fast fix on it, that'll make it nicer. And while we're focusing on some of these other priorities,
So I think maybe. I think we're talking about the patch just up past the riding ring.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking maybe if we have our own B gravel, so if we could dig it,
Yeah,
and then just use recycled asphalt.
Mhm.
And that'll
and
pack,
actually pack it.
and actually get a roller and pack it. I think that'll pack like as good as.
Well, yeah, like
asphalt.
it did on that section of development.
Right, so I mean, I think maybe that could be, then we're not spending money in asphalt, we're buying a couple load, 6 loads of recycled asphalt, which is the same price as A gravel, basically a little more money, it's a little more money, but it's not thousands and thousands of
Cause
dollars.
there are a couple other spots that I've been discussing with Nikki about maybe pulverizing. Smaller sections of the roadway that are rough, right? So one of the biggest ones is the Trunk Road Hill. Right, like we've spent countless dollars on.
it's all patch.
Cold patch.
It's all
And
patch.
nothing's-
Look at the
But I
area
think
that's
there's no
all-
asphalt left.
I don't think you'll keep that hill if you leave.
No, and that's my side of things is like, if you do turn the hill on the gravel,
Yeah, I don't think you'll keep
it's
it.
gonna be a washout,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What if we did the slurry, what did it, what is it? Like,
You know that thingy, right?
Yeah, whoever that was, yeah. Why couldn't we do something like that again, just on that small section to be able to get us through?
Cause we don't.
Cause
we
you're
don't
right,
dig
The
it.
I
the problem with that section of road is, I'm gonna be completely honest, it's so far gone.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
this surface, the potholes that they're filling aren't just surface potholes, like they are down into the gravel base of the roadway,
Right.
right?
The clay base of the road, you mean?
The clay.
Like, I get that there's an election and hopefully that there's gonna be some money kicking around and all that kind of stuff, but like to come from the top of the hill of Trunk down and do railway, like we're waiting. I mean, it's never gonna happen if it's only the township's money, it's gonna take forever. We need a grant to do it. And while we're waiting, people are just getting more and more frustrated, right? So I don't know if there's,
But if we do pulverize it and it's on a hill, what problems is that gonna cause, right?
Well, yeah, if you
No,
pulverize it,
yeah, you can't do
the it's just gonna wash
I
away.
know,
It washes
I'm
it.
saying,
We
we
have to
can't
treat
do
it.
that.
You have to
Yeah.
get, it has to get
Yeah,
hard
yeah,
surface
yes.
or.
Like a chip seal or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the state. I don't like talking about that, talking to Public Works Manager first, but when we're doing Trunk Road Bridge, there will be some resurfacing that we have to do at the bridge.
At the bridge, and we were,
So if we planned it properly, then we could do, there's 3 sections, I think. I
Yeah.
mean, 2, but now this will be the 3rd, the one that just on the other side
It's
of it.
not far from the bridge, right?
Yeah, it's the, you know,
So if we knock off a bunch of the smaller, like the shorter roads on with the gravel program, maybe we save some of that gravel money and we use to patch those 2 sections on Trunk as well. Like we can put that
like
together.
tar and chip.
I think people, I think taxpayers would be really happy to see that kind of work.
oh,
Yeah,
for
that
sure,
is
I mean, but there's just so much.
I know,
Yeah.
well, another one of the main reasons that it's been a problem this year is the Pine Lake Hill, right?
Yes.
So that
Mhm.
section from the end of the
So
asphalt
Yeah.
left
off
of that, oh,
17
the end there.
to the bridge, right?
So there's the problem right there is they've always just done temporary patches.
Right.
And everything that's in the sub base just always bleeds back up through and ruins the final product.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it only lasted so long.
right,
Like literally, I get it that with the best case scenario is we would spend some money to do this temporary patch on Trunk. And maybe it's a year later, we're gonna get a grant and we're gonna be redoing it again, which seems a little silly, but that's honestly. If everything goes in our favor, if it doesn't, we might be 5 years getting it back for it, right?
yeah, I just don't know, like, when we say a temporary fix, are we talking like full on dig out the sub base and gravel up and then just cap it with something? Like either
Yeah.
recycled asphalt, or are we just talking grind it and little bit of gravel on top and chip seal it or whatever?
Yes, I think that only because. Like we are actively working to fix it properly. We just have to get the money from another level of government. It's not, we understand it's a patch. And it's not stopping us from trying to get the money to do it right.
No, I just,
But
I know,
there are
I-
no houses right where that worst part is where you come down after you go through the bridge and you come down the hill. And that part on the corner just before you hit Trout Pond Road,
Mhm.
there's no houses around there. So if you had to pulverize it and just leave gravel there, I think it would be better than what's there now. Because I think there has been coal patching done. And the last time I came up, I did see some big holes like that. I always come up that road to come to the
You're
township
talking Trump,
on Trout.
okay.
yeah, I mean. It's in the same state as development was, that's why we had to pulverize it, cause it's just coal patch on top of coal patch on top
But
of coal
not a
patch.
lot of it. I
No,
don't
I
No.
think we're right now, like the section where we're talking about, it's just the hill here, right? Like
Yeah, just at the foot of that hill.
outside the municipal office, like that hill there.
Oh, I
Yeah,
forgot about
yeah.
that.
That's- yeah,
I forgot about that one.
right.
Yeah.
So the
We
only-
can't leave it as gravel, we have
Oh,
to
yeah,
put some
that's terrible.
chip seal, I guess, but. Yeah, I think it's, make it flat again, put some chip seal on and continue to look for grants to do the right dig outs and hard surface and.
And I mean, we could touch up the other one on, if we're doing the bridge, touch the other one up on the other side and do it,
Oh, yeah, what Mary was saying.
Yeah,
further
it's
down.
not a large
Yeah.
area there.
give it a quick dig out and, you know.
Yeah, it's not a big
Recycled
job,
asphalt,
it's just essentially it all comes down.
yeah, time and money,
Right?
well, and time, I mean,
Yeah.
your time is gonna be chewed up on those.
Oh, trust me, I know, so. we-
So I mean, yeah, if you can fit it in, then.
So the last thing.
Oh, is that it?
Public Works.
Another thing.
Yeah.
It's the Eric Street subdivision. So currently the Public Works Department's in conversation with all parties involved in the Eric Street subdivision project. It's been brought to our attention that the existing drainage plan needs to be readdressed with some minor fixes. These repairs include the location change of a crossroad culvert, as well as the regrading of the ditches, which will essentially allow the water to flow. as set out in the existing drainage plan. Currently, the contractors are in talks with each other as well as the engineers to come up with an agreement surrounding the drainage. The Public Works Department has attended the site on multiple occasions as well as inspected where future water is projected to flow. At this moment, if capital improvements are needed, the excess costs incurred will be for drainage work. Tulloch Engineering will be coming for a site visit to inquire and look further into these underlying issues revolving around the drainage on site as well as further downstream. So where the water crosses,
So did we ever find the proper drainage plan that was set up for this? Where it's not costing the township money?
from the contractors, yeah,
Yeah.
Whenever they're
produced it.
approved.
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
produced the correct plan. It's now there.
So. The last time this was brought up, we were having to dig a re-ditch out to. The main road.
We're, yeah, essentially, we're
Gagne.
gonna have to anyways. So we own.
Was this not, was it, wouldn't that be on? The developer?
There is there's a reserve, there's a security for some of that work to be done from the contractor. So it won't, it is not expected to come out of our budget. There is that reserve for it. We will have to do the work, it's our property, but
And
there
there
is
are
a
some
reserve.
culverts as well that will have to be replaced after you've inspected them, they're rotted. So
Sure.
there's-
Yeah.
And in one section, there's actually no culvert, and now they've put a ditch on the one side of the road, so the water's got nowhere to go, so we're gonna have to put a culvert in and then ditch from there out to, Young. Or sorry, Young.
And is there, construction going on there now?
Currently, yeah. There was ditching work that was moving forward because essentially the slope that they had, the engineering firm and the contractor were arguing back and forth with each other. They're currently still, last I heard, they've sorted it out, so the contractor is moving forward with doing the work. But they had to switch where the crossroad culvert was within the subdivision agreement to move it closer to,
Eric?
yeah, the senior center, sorry, so
And is that a through road?
it will
It will
be, that's the plan.
I had seen that they were doing a big culvert right off of like just past the.
Yeah, so essentially that culvert was about 200 meters down more. But after looking further into the drainage and stuff, it was suggested it's moved up higher so that the water actually comes down the hill and can cross rather than being pushed both ways.
So is the water coming out, crossing the road, then running back into the new subdivision, or is it supposed to be heading out
So
toward?
it's coming from like the new subdivision at the furthest part of Eric, it'll be coming down across. And then it's supposed to run down Eric Street.
Out to,
Gagne.
past the seniors?
Correct, yeah.
And then after it gets to going in, that's why we're having Tulloch come in to do a walk to see what the condition is of the ditches in the water that are just gonna receive that new water.
So essentially,
Sure. I
Yes.
don't, you don't need them, I can tell you that, it's sure.
We are sorted.
We just saved you a bunch of money.
We have gone,
yeah, we
to
did a
look
site
at it.
inspection and it's
Yes,
essentially
you're not
the
wrong.
properties downstream from the crossroad culvert are a concern.
So basically, you're ditching from Eric Street all the way down to the Four Corners.
No, that
No,
water's
to
going,
church.
that water's going behind Church Street. It hits a crossroad culvert. And goes behind Upper Laurier. And down towards the lake. Behind Sampson's.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow, anybody shoot that with a grade stick?
Well,
But just to me, it looks like
essentially there's no ditch. left
ditch, yeah,
to-
no, I realize there's no ditch,
So,
but I mean, I just would assumed it would have come out
and
Eric
on the other way?
and gone down
Yeah.
towards, cause there's a big ravine down there.
No, there's a crossroad culvert just past and there are plans to come out and that's all sloped towards the crossroad culvert from. The driveway on Eric, so everything. Northwest
Right,
goes towards Church Street and everything, the opposite side of Eric goes down the hill.
So how do we fix that?
We talked to engineers
Okay.
and we planned on the work.
Okay, yeah.
Like it's, yeah, it'd be a
For me,
big job to rewrite.
just in
No, it should,
my head, I'm
essentially it
thinking-
should come the
Yeah.
other way, right? But
Yeah.
it's.
we move the cross culvert and set it all down.
So is this essentially on the municipality to make the rest of the culverts and the water flow to accept what was the subdivision? I mean, ultimately, the municipality at some point approved a subdivision to be there.
Right, but you would
Yes.
approve it with
With the
a,
drainage.
with a drainage plan that shouldn't cost the municipality money.
The drainage plan only went to the property line and the subdivision. And then there was that security that was required for just these purposes. If we did have to do anything downstream from that property line, then we would have the security.
So we
that would
have that
be
sitting
able to-
in trust now?
In trust.
Okay.
Is it gonna cover all of it? Not.
To be determined,
Yeah,
yes.
can we go after for more or no?
No,
No, I guess not, because it's not
No.
their fault that,
it was all accepted and approved.
yeah, I mean,
But that's something like essentially we wanted to discuss with the engineers too, is if you remove that crossroad culvert to make the water flow the opposite way. Right, like
that's-
towards the four corners, it's a total possibility, it just depends
To
how
me,
much water they're expecting to come through there.
yeah, to me, that's all going downhill. Once you create the new ditch,
Yeah, well, and we all know
it's all
how
downhill,
deep the ditches are at the four corner,
right?
so.
You got that big ravine right there. Like, to me, it's, without going in and actually looking at it now that I know you're inside of the story.
Yeah, it's just essentially that crossroad culvert that runs like behind Upper Laurier and that way down towards the lake, that's the concern from that section to the lake behind. Like, where is the water gonna go? And essentially, who's it gonna flood it?
Right, and you got,
That's-
yeah,
that's-
mindful of
That's the
that,
problem,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
That's why we've
yeah.
been looking into it, so.
can flood out no one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right, yes.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
So
Yeah.
we're working on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're all over it.
Then there's the report from the administration for the budget. I know that we kind of touched on all the capital and then under the operating, so we've done the roads. From the administration point of view for our budget, the things that we're trying to work on are the municipal office septic. So we worked with the design consultant in 2024 and applied for a new holding tank for the property. The current tank was inspected in late 2022 and found to be in need of a replacement. So as the property is part of, is a park with many uses and the township doesn't own the shore road allowance or the island, the plan was to just replace the tank, like for like. Upon submitting the application, it was discovered that the building and the tank are on two separate properties. So the Conservation Authority cannot review the application until they're merged. And a legal team was hired to perform that exercise. It was then discovered that the lease agreement between the township and the Conservation Authority states that the Conservation Authority must sign off on any improvements to the land, which means for the septic application. I need I need a different department in North Bay Mattawa Conservation to sign off on that we can replace the tank before the septic department can give us that approval. And they won't do that until the properties are merged. So I need their permission before I can merge the properties. So that's where we are right now. We're waiting for Conservation Authority to get back to us.
We know the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we know, guy. We need some help there. So while our goal was to replace the tank only. We are a municipal office and we have alarms on the system. The Conservation Authority is stating that there is room for a septic bed that would be in the parking lot more toward the caboose area. So we've communicated this is not reasonable location due to parking lots and driveways. The only other option is to explore the culverts or is to culvert the ditch that's right beside our in the park right here. So right beside, put a culvert in, cover that ditch. And then we might be able to determine if there's sufficient room on our property for the bed, for the septic bed. So our CBO is looking at the design, like the measurements, and Public Works is looking at the cost to fix that culvert, like to fill in the ditch. It's not the ideal situation. We kind of feel like we're a municipal office and we have a tank and the tank works and we have a pump, a contract with someone to come and pump it. We just need a new tank, but it's not our call. So in 2024, we did budget 30,000 for the project. It is unspent because of all of the complications. So we're recommending that we move that $30,000 that we had in the budget for 2024 into 2025, because we definitely need a new septic. So if we just transfer that into reserve, we'll use it in 2025.
Have we reached out to someone above? Are we at the top of the food chain at the Mattawa Conservation on this matter instead of dealing with the inspector?
I am one step above the inspector. I don't know how many steps.
I say we go straight to the board.
Okay,
No, I mean, to me, you should be able to replace what's there.
Full board.
Typically that you can. So is this,
Legacy. Also, you did send us their budget as well.
Yes.
Right, so they're asking for more money, so what kind of service are we getting for our more money, right?
I know all my contacts aren't there anymore.
yeah, no, it's
Yes,
a revolving. door.
yeah.
That's why I'm asking if we've gone, try to go higher, talk to somebody else
Mhm,
to say we should be able to replace what we have. It's,
Mhm.
mhm.
you know, we don't have showers, we don't have, it's a
You know,
bathrooms,
have 3 bathrooms.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
It's
just-
residential size.
Yeah.
Right,
and
Yeah.
people are only here
Three
for
bathrooms.
8 hours a day.
Yeah, it's true, it's less than this.
Yeah,
This is gonna sound so, is there like a liner or a bladder that we can put into the existing tank?
I've asked, not that I know of, not that I've been able to source from anyone that we could just reline it. Oh, I was, yeah, I wouldn't, we're doing it, just reline it.
Yeah.
Yes, if you can reline a sewer line, why can't you
Or
reline
culvert?
this?
I can
Right?
do
Yes,
I might know a guy.
there's a niche somewhere out there.
Damn, and then that become a billionaire.
yeah.
Yes. If someone could. Yeah, so there's a resolution in the file for tonight. The other item for the municipal office is that we need some minor improvements next year, so there's a need to update the front office security with some stronger glass, and the new entrance door, we want to have a key fob system, so we keep it locked right now, but it's. You know, and then stock them around, but we want to have a better security system in there. We got quotes for some really strong glass. I thought the glass would be around 10,000, it's 30,000. So we're rethinking, what we need to do. Yeah, so and then the window in the building department office needs to be changed. And a new rad placed in the planning, it was for the entire front to be done, sorry, that was bulletproof, glass in the door, it was like high security buzzer doors, everything.
Are they
So
relocating
will
our office to
rethink
Baltimore?
Right,
It's still here in Bonfield, right?
right, I think it's.
Cause my truck's not locked currently.
Everyone's listening.
So it is a serious thing that there are residents, there are issues that
Yeah,
we deal with,
they're
that
angry.
there are very angry people. And they come in here very angry, and they pick up the phone very angry, and then they come in even angrier. And we don't tolerate the harassment, but the harassment is there, and we need to make sure that the staff, the staff are safe. Now, the front staff aren't the ones that people are angry with, but they're the ones who take the brunt of it, and they need to feel safe.
Yeah, no, I,
And do we have signs posted that behavior won't be tolerated?
you think someone coming in
No,
angry is gonna
no,
read
but-
that?
no.
Oh, I was a sign, I better take it easy.
But I think that,
Yes, we should do that,
yes,
yes.
Oh,
I
yes.
think we do.
That's ridiculous.
Mhm.
I think I would rather spend that money on security cameras.
Yes,
In all of our municipal locations,
yes,
honestly.
we are doing that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
But you
Bob
still,
system.
Yeah.
you still need something here.
I think so too.
You still need to secure.
I'm okay to
things.
put in stronger glass. I don't remember like how thin a glass it is, and it should be tempered glass and it should be all of
And
that.
that's what we'll.
Bulletproof glass is like, okay, like.
Yeah, that's with the door where you can like slide the documents.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's what got quoted back, so,
Okay.
yeah,
well,
Cannibal Lecter?
yeah.
yeah,
So as staff, we'll make sure that whatever we settle on, that all of the staff will say.
Yeah,
And that's what.
for sure.
Well, and I mean, I think you can cite statistics, so statistically speaking, violence towards government agencies is on the rise, right? People are very dissatisfied, I know, you know.
And especially since COVID, people are angry.
I'd also like to see a risk assessment done of the building prior to. Which, and I will send you a template if you don't have one, you can walk through that with staff, it grades it, it rates it like a probability versus. Does all of that, and then you can talk about the potential improvements and whether or not that would change the score. And then what the risk factor would be after that,
Yes, if you can.
because, yeah,
I'm guessing you've been down this path with some.
Yeah.
yeah, you think that I live this world, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't have bulletproof glass.
This is just alligator.
Like, bulletproof glass is, in my opinion, over the top,
Mhm.
I'd wanna make sure that they're safe,
Yeah.
but.
We also do de-escalation training
Yeah.
as well,
We
which
have
is another.
ACI training for
Yeah.
our staff,
Well, I don't know what that is. How much-
non-violent crisis intervention.
Oh,
Yeah.
for
What-
us,
what if
yes,
it's only
we
by-
haven't done it on the,
Yeah, I mean, one of the promises of that is to have an out, right? So you never
Right,
back yourself up into a corner, so there was always an escape
Right.
route, so.
Which they
that's why we want to change that door,
Yeah.
because it's really easy to get through the
Yeah.
door,
Oh, for
right?
sure.
So the door is
Fogged all the
key,
time.
Yeah,
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 absolutely.
absolutely, and I'm all for like a fob
Mhm.
system, like, that's easy,
Mm.
$30,000 piece of glass, it seems.
We
like-
want it, we want it so
Secure.
someone wants to put, run and ram it, they're gonna take 2 or 3 times, before they get their head through the door.
Right, we want time to get out.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
We're
yeah.
trying to find,
Exactly.
Yeah.
we're trying to find that 5-second barrier,
Yeah.
right? So that
No,
we
no,
can
I
get
can
to
help
the
you with
back.
all
Yeah,
of that.
yeah,
Perfect.
yeah, have the books and
Appreciate
stuff.
that,
Yeah,
yes.
no problem.
Both.
And then another thing, for the redesign of the council seating that's been discussed, many times, I believe. So I don't know if you want to continue to consider that in the 2025 budget.
Put it towards the door.
Yeah.
And then staff are going to rearrange, how we have the council set up right now, just so that our back is not to the door, so that, the staff can see if somebody is coming in during the council meeting. So we'll be moving the TV and stuff like that as well. So that's our front office. Generally, other factors affecting the 2025 operating budget include the wage increase as set out in the collective agreement, continued professional training for the newer staff, including bylaw adopting standards, planning, general municipal procedures, and long-term financial planning. The recent RFPs for website audit and IT services will see minor increases in operating, as well as the projects are executed in 2025. We had an audit on the computers yesterday, and I think there are 4 that must be changed by October 2025, because they will just be obsolete.
Yeah, yeah.
So that will come into our 2025 expense as well.
The hard drives you.
Well, that's
Yeah,
should be
that's-
part of our
that's
asset
absolutely-
management plan eventually, right?
Yeah.
Our refresh, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about doing a program so that
Yeah.
it's like 1 or 2 computers every year, so we're not just spending a whole bunch, but.
And
we
do you
wanna
know what
get on
you
a
buy for
program.
computers? Like, do you have somebody giving you advice? on
Yes.
that? Okay,
Yes, yeah, our new IT professionals are telling
okay,
us.
perfect,
Yeah, not us.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
cause I'm like, I can help you on that as well, so.
You can replace one again next
And we're all
year,
getting
it's
flip
me,
phones.
like, yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he laughed at me when I told him the budget for our computer, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's 1980.
I will adjust.
Yeah.
There'll be new software in early 2025 as well for the agenda packages that you receive. We did go from agenda notes, but then they required a 1-year cancel, so it'll be eScribe coming in the new year. Once we get that finished and set up. And then we continue to expense 2 financial software companies to see the rebates on the annual fees, and that's for the Baker and the Town Suite. So hopefully Town Suite will give us a reduction on the annual fees again. I have the request in, so. I just haven't heard.
Isn't the. There you go.
And then we have a sort of like slush fund for any extra legal advice that we need that may not be, and is that an RFP? Is that coming up or?
For the legal?
Yeah, or do we
We can
just?
do an RFP, well, typically we just go for quotes for hourly
Yeah,
quotes for
okay,
legal, but we
Yeah.
can certainly look at appointing a new legal as well.
Yeah.
Or at least doing a review.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think.
Legal's one of the tough ones to do an RFP on, because they'll
Yeah,
specialize,
yeah.
on depends if it's an HR lawyer you need, or if it's.
But
The
even
property is.
that-
Yeah, yeah.
But even if we needed like planning advice or whatever too, right? So we've
Yeah.
got
So we have-
line items for those, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, those are all
Yeah.
separate, yeah. These were just some of the highlights and the changes that are coming into the budget. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of work with those RFPs,
Mm-hmm.
because it's very time consuming and again, very meticulous work, right?
Mhm.
So RFP is a science.
Mhm.
Legal documents.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's our information for the 2025 budget to date so far. I know that we're still working on other departments as well, so.
No, you can tell him you spent all the money on this.
Well, some,
Done left.
Yeah, but actually, I think we need to turn the lights out right now.
someone has spent on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
It's all stuff that's gotta be done in the. All benefits the township. Okay, so moved by Neri, second by Steve. That the corporate service committee meeting recommends to proceed with the Englobe geotechnical study for Trunk Road Bridge with a total cost of $13,800. Is everybody in favor? Carried to good. Moved by Jason, second by Donna, that the committee recommends to the council to transfer the unspent funds for the municipal office septic project in the amount of $30,000 to reserves to be used in 2025. All in favor? Carried. Final at the bottom. To close it. Moved by Tom, the second by Jason, that this meeting be adjourned at 8:15. All in favor?
That's pretty good.
Is that job well done?
Yes.